is Don't Get Me Started. This is a conversation about advertising. And here is your host, freelance creative director and creative circus department head, Dan Balser.
Yes, welcome back to another episode of the podcast. Thank you so much to you out there, the listeners, and to Rich in here, the guest. Coming from California, Rich Silverstein and I will be having another conversation. I'm really excited about this. It was 5 years ago, almost exactly, that Rich and I sat down in Rich's office. It's sunny San Francisco. We are now in balmy, steamy, uncomfortably sticky Atlanta, Georgia, in an air-conditioned, I guess it's a library. It's a quiet room.
I don't think there's much air going on in this room.
There's not much air going on in this room.
But I think I'm younger now than I was 5 years ago.
Well, you look amazing. Still cycling? Still cycling?
Yeah. Well, 10 weeks ago I had broke my hip 3 places.
You broke your hip?
Yeah, 10 weeks ago. And I said to the doctor, I have to walk on stage at Cannes, and I will not be with a cane, and I have to do that. And I got better, and here I am. I've been cycling for 2 weeks now.
And you're walking okay? You're not limping?
Yeah.
Wow.
No limp. Everything was, thank God, all held together by my body.
Do you practice yoga?
No, I should.
Why? Why should you?
I have no patience for anything.
Right, but
it's too calm.
Right, but that's the philosophy of yin and yang, right? So wouldn't a little bit of calm infused into you? You think it would dull you if you became too chill?
No, I'm trying. I'm really trying. Someday, maybe. I do stretches in the morning, but I have to cycle every morning to work, and I make it about an hour just to... All your ideas come out when you're cycling. It's amazing.
Yeah. So, okay... This is one of the questions I wrote down.
Oh.
How was the move to the city from Marin? So the last time you and I talked,
my God.
You were about to make the move.
Yes.
And I want to know about your adjustment to the urban home.
The construction and the homeless and the dirt and the Ubers and the skaters and the scooters and the people walking with headphones on. It's hell. But I'm still here. It's only a mile from the office.
So walking with headphones on means that they're oblivious to you crossing in front of them, sort of thing?
Totally. Yeah. I mean, it's San Francisco cannot handle the amount of people that have... The infrastructure is just terrible.
Right. This is, they're on foot or they're... Because here it's the same thing. Here, there's a telltale sign when you're behind usually a BMW.
Yes. Oh, hey, this is going to be a commercial for BMW, or don't even start.
No, this is not about the car. This is about the person who's driving slightly too slow and slightly on the right side of the lane. You know that person is on their phone while they're driving.
Oh, yeah. No, it's terrible. So I gave a talk at Cannes, and I'll show it to you after this podcast. But basically I said... Because Apple was getting the big award as a corporation. And I said, to all, I'm sorry, Apple, but bear with me. And I said, please take those amazing instruments and put them in your pocket a little, for a little while, and look up at the sky and watch the clouds and see the light hit buildings and see typography on a building and think and be present and take the earphones out. I just said, just be present. I love it. And I'm shocked that people aren't.
I love it. There's something that you said the last time we talked that I want to talk more about because I think it's really profound and important. And it's not going to sound profound to you, and it's not on its face, but it's getting out of the things that you habitually do to be inspired. And you had mentioned museums and movies and culture and is there something that Silverstein, Goodby, and Partners does to try to encourage people to get out of their screens and their briefs and their...
I think that Jeff and myself just have that. He's writing, he's illustrating in the morning or 2 in the morning. I'm writing a story. I'm photographing. We're going to museums, watch films outside, not just in bed, which is still amazing. Mm-hmm. But I'm not sure my people do that. Mm-hmm. I do know that Jeff does, and I know that I do. Mm-hmm. And I think that, coming from a design, art direction background, more journalism for me, and Jeff being a journalist, we've always been citizens of the world rather than citizens of advertising.
That's interesting. It's interesting.
So that's what gets us out into the world. I tell people in the office to do that. I don't know if they do enough of it.
No. Listeners, I'm not going to do an intro on this one. I want you guys to go back and listen to episode 178. The very beginning of that will give you everything you need to know about Mr. Silverstein. In addition to that, he and his partner Jeff were recently named Executive of the Decade by Adweek. Other than that, I think the resume is pretty up to date on the last episode.
That's not recent, is it?
Which decade are we talking about?
I have no idea.
The one we're still in, or the one we just got out of?
I think we got out of it. I have no idea. It's been...
Okay.
I mean, what happened 2 weeks ago was at Cannes, and we got the Lion of St. Mark. Okay.
What does that mean?
I didn't know at first.
What is it? What did you guys win?
We won Lifetime Achievement Award.
That's amazing.
I know.
Congratulations. I feel really ill-prepared. I'm sorry about that.
Oh, no. This was huge. This was like, who did I look up to besides the Hal Reineys and the George Loises? Then my contemporaries were Dan Wyden and Lee Clow, and they both got it. They've now we have it.
Do you know Lee?
Yes.
I want to have a conversation on this with Lee.
Yeah, I think he'd be fascinating. Yeah. I think Lee is a gunslinger. He's a surfer and a gunslinger. It's a kind of an interesting combination.
Isn't that sort of Jeff and Rich?
Oh shucks, I want to kill you. It's a sport. I've said this a gazillion times, but it is a sport. You don't want to lose. And,
absolutely.
But you know what? You want to do it with some kind of finesse. Anyway,
I want to go back to what you were just talking about with being citizens of the world.
Yeah.
What do you feel like sitting here at this perspective, at this vantage point in the industry? What do you feel like is the bigger cultural role of what you do and what Goodby Silverstein and Partners does?
A really good question, because coming out of Cannes, the big winners were I want to save the world through advertising. And that's what won big. And I'm going, I don't mind that. But it can't be the only thing.
Of course.
We have real clients with real problems. Not everyone has Kaepernick. They just don't. He created something very special. He happened to be sponsored by a company that actually had an advertising agency. It was a perfect storm to do the best with Kaepernick.
Right.
And he deserves. And Wyden did a great job, and Nike did a great job. But you can't just take chewing gum to save the world.
Right.
And if you have so citizens of the world to me means to be respectful to the public, so that the marketing, the advertising, the language, the visual treatment is a respect of the best of us instead of talking down to us. And I have a curse where I see messy things and things I don't like. I look at this room and this library needs a little help. It needs the books are a little bit too crooked for me. So it's my curse of seeing things out of sort. And I think citizens of the world, Jeff and I we watch, listen to the news. We're fanatic about a story, like we're pit bulls on the O.J. Simpson trial. We're just pit bulls on it. And I think knowing what's going on in the world and then just makes you a richer person to do storytelling. And really what we have to get to is that's what we are about. We make stories.
Do you try to do work that is the next Got Milk? Do you try to say...
No.
I'm not saying in a way that it's iconic or something like that, but something that resonates throughout culture beyond solving a client problem.
Well, I think we have this ability to make popular culture, and that's a very powerful thing. And I think that's what's seductive about becoming a job in advertising. But I'm just as excited about the next project in front of me, and I'm not saying, I've got to beat Got Milk. No, not at all. Because Got Milk was clumsily created out of the obvious, but then, of course, that's what makes things brilliant when they're very simple.
But isn't that it, though? Isn't the coolest stuff, wow, that really,
I know.
That took off? Or that amazing thing you did is like, why didn't that be the thing?
Oh, yeah. Well, there's the holy grail of the whole thing, which is unlocking something that people and culture just connect to.
Right.
Just bam.
Right.
Exactly. I agree. Oh, boy. I don't want to look at the past. I mean, I don't mind talking about the past.
Right.
But I hope that we're going to create something bigger, different. I don't know. I don't even think about got milk.
Compelling. You want something to be compelling and relevant.
I want to be proud of it. I still want to go, oh my God.
We made that.
Yeah, we made that. And I love, what's changed for Jeff and myself is that we work every day and still do the same things we always did. But I love to see ideas from young people. It's so exciting.
Oh, yeah.
It really is. And the energy's great. And then our job is to make sure that they realize that all the way through. This is not easy.
No, we talked about this last time. Of course, you don't remember it, but not this exactly. But having the idea, and my partner used to say this. I love this about my old partner John. He would say, when you have the idea, or even when the idea is sold, that's the starting gun. That's when the race starts, because things can be what they are. Things become what they are after you have the idea.
Yeah, and they can all fall down at any level. I call it rounding the corners. I don't know if I said it last time, but you start with a sharp table, and then the client has a little bit of a problem with something, so you got to kind of compromise. No, you can't compromise so much that you took this beautiful square pointed thing and you made it really soft and round. But you do have to compromise. You just have to find the art of compromising where no one sees the compromise is it.
That's it right there.
It's really hard.
You solve that small problem with something smart. That was always my challenge, my problem as a junior. My problem as a junior was I didn't see those changes from the client as an opportunity to be creative.
Well, you get
a lot of them is like sabotage.
You're so right. You get frustrated and go, God damn that client.
Right.
Which do you know that happens every day, even to me yesterday before coming here? Sure. It never changes. And part of this talk I gave at Cannes was we all are told it's not good enough. No. You got to come back, and it's how you come back. It's how resilient you are. How do you get back up on that field? I still think it's sport,
right? And
play again. It's crazy.
That's 100% what it is. And to me, I think the problem was that I always constructed it as how do I get back up and fight again versus how do I now say this is the brief.
Oh,
this is the brief. Okay, so in other words, say fresh page, new brief versus. You got knocked down, get back up. And of course, this is all psychological. It's all just how you approach it and frame it, think about it. But resilience is super key.
If a client realized all they had to do is explain to us why they didn't like it.
Oh, God, every time.
Hey, I can fix that.
Tell me the problem, not the solution, right?
But there's all games, and there's insecurities, and there's levels. Maybe there always were levels, but I don't remember them, which is small, medium, and large. And the small starts first and tells you their problems, and it just lumps on and lumps on.
It's universal. The last time we talked 5 years ago, you said you were moving, you were about to move, and you're in the car driving, and Felix is freaking out. He's not doing well.
Felix is my cat, by the way.
Correct, and I'm curious how he's adjusted, if he's still. And you said, I'm driving my car, I'm moving to this new house. Felix is upset. I don't want to move to the city. My wife really wants to be in the city. And the client calls, and he's upset with a cut. He's upset with an edit. And we didn't get what he wanted. We didn't shoot it. It wasn't in the can. It's just this is rain. This is something in nature and advertising that will always be part of what we do.
All you need a client to do is for them to realize that everyone wants to do a good job.
Everyone needs to realize that, frankly. Honestly, we need to as well.
All right. Well, if the client allows it, if the agency allows it, if the people around allow it, great stuff can happen.
Yeah.
And it's a series of roadblocks, I guess you have to maneuver through.
If you think of it,
what a shitty business.
Well, you think of it as Super Mario Brothers, where is Bowser or like a lava jump a roadblock, or is it a challenge to get?
So it's a really good way to look at it.
All right.
No, it really is a challenge that you have to overcome.
And
you have to.
You have to, and it's probably better for you to realize it's coming.
Yeah, but you get hit on the side of your head
every single time.
You didn't know it was coming.
Because you can't imagine it would have been that thing.
Oh, how about this? You have this great meeting. It's fantastic. And then, we're going to put our notes together and send them to you. And the notes go on for 3 pages. And you go, where do I start? And then, you know what? It gets me in the gut every time. Here I am. I've been in this 36 years, and it's still, oh my God.
Well, this is why you're relevant. So, you guys still doing a lot of pro bono?
Yeah, we tried to cut down since last year. I think we went overboard. And someone added up what the time was, and it was crazy. We always will do pro bono. We will always work for a client that we want to that has very little money, and then we will always go for big clients. It's always a range.
Cool. Has your perception of what's important, like what's important in the industry, what's important in your role, has it evolved over the years? Do you feel like who you are in the process has changed and evolved, or?
I don't think I've changed or Jeff has changed. We've evolved with the times, but I do believe that the disappointment of people coming out of school, it's funny because I'm talking to you, who can't write a sentence, who can't put a whole paragraph together. They can do a great idea. But then this great writing, because we recently got BMW, I went back and looked at the advertising, and the writing was so brilliant in the 60s. Oh my God. Every paragraph.
80s.
Right?
Fallon McGilligan.
No, it started with Ammirati Pierce.
Okay.
And it was the ultimate driving machine then. You know, the wit was so great. That's why I got into advertising, really, the wit of...
Do you remember a guy named Tony Angotti?
Yes.
Yeah, I've worked with him at his last job, and he was the last kind of holdout from that era, and it was the efficiency of the way of thinking about messages. Yeah. There's something...
I wish there was something of that now, but because it's a world marketing market, actually, that when we bring in Brazilians and we bring in people from China and we bring people from Sweden, it's more about the image and the idea because the language is...
Is there a place for smart language now?
There has to be. Well, you know what? I'll hire every one of them.
Well, we started talking before we started recording. We were talking about Caroline Capelli. I mean, this is a woman who can wield a pen. She understands language and she can use the language.
Yeah, and then you explain to her what you need to do, and okay. And then she's amazingly optimistic and a really great writer. That's a really good balance because you got to keep coming back and fixing things. So what's changed? What's changed now is, of course, the media, and so we're a print ad. Sad, there's not a print ad. Even I am not, and I was a magazine junkie.
Yeah,
I won't even buy a magazine anymore. Oh my God. But the idea of a contained space where you had an image and long writing of a print ad, that's dead. But the internet has allowed us to do so many things. And being from graphic design into advertising into the internet, I mean, it's a my God, it's a candy store. It's a sandbox to play in because the internet is so graphic. But I do miss really biting writing. Funny, well, okay, at Cannes, everything wants to say, right now, it feels like they want to save the world, and there's not a lot of humor. And we built a whole, it's the famous song that people don't actually like. We built this city on rock and roll, which is about San Francisco. I think we'd like to think that we built our agency on humor, and sometimes we move away from...
A tone of approachability.
Well, wit and humor and self-effacing, if a brand can do that, why wouldn't I want to be part of that brand?
You have that in your personality as well. I think
both of us have a cynicism, but it's a pleasant cynicism.
No, it is. It does feel like that. It's a cynicism with a smile and a laugh.
Oh my God!
It's a New Yorker thing. It's a very, very it's a classic sort of Jewish New Yorker view of the world.
Yeah, and, the world is falling down, but let's laugh.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one 100%. So. You're talking about copy, but what about design? I mean, do you see beautiful design anymore? Is that something that you guys strive for in your shop?
Yes.
Hiring designers, and talk a little bit about the power of design from an art director. And are you guys moving away from art directors, or do you still need an art director on a team or designers?
Well, those are all good questions that I'm going to, after this podcast, give a talk to the students.
Great.
And there's going to be a lot of design in it because I had a time to reflect about myself. I don't know why. Oh, it was because this award.
Because it's healthy.
And I turned 70 like 3 weeks ago.
Good Lord. You're 70 years old?
Yeah.
That's literally unbelievable.
Frightening.
Because you do not look 70 years old.
Okay, so keep cycling, people.
Yeah.
So, I was looking at my life, and I'm going, I'm still a designer. My only table I've ever had,
the Parsons,
is still there. And I don't know anything more than the DNA of being a designer. So even if a great idea comes to me and it's not put together in some kind of form, that I can't accept that. So design is important. We've built a really good design department. We've built a really good animation department. We have a good labs. We have all the discipline. We have a great editorial department. And
help me out. Educate me for a second. So the design department is doing. You guys get design projects?
We try to. Yes, we do. Just pure design. Yes. In the traditional logo and branding idea, but we try to put that design to our clients.
Yeah, of course. Okay.
Yeah. Design. Look, we founded the business on editorial, art direction editorial, which is kind of a design look of. Oh my God! If you look back at Time and Look and these great magazines, that's how I was formed, and that's how Jeff was formed. And then
Life magazine.
Yeah, and then Ramparts and Esquire.
Visual storytelling with typography to serve the story.
Yeah, and so Milton Glaser, and his help with New York Magazine and all that. Everything came together in a magazine. Now it's on the internet, but everything came together. Great writing, great authors, great designers coming together. We built our agency on that. I still believe that's what we want to be. I don't think that's ever changed.
Yeah,
it's hard. Sometimes we get away from it. I don't want to.
Yeah, I did mention this last time that I always felt like the craft coming out of that agency. I mean, to me, it was a textbook as a student. It was just absolutely everything was intentional, considered. Decisions were made. This is the thing that I'm trying to teach students, that they need to learn to make decisions about exactly how far from the border is that headline going to start, and are you going to leave the? Did you make a decision to turn it that way, or is that a mistake? These are things that I feel like.
So true. It's God is in the details.
It is in there.
Why is the type indented or not indented? Why is it flush left or why is it centered? Why did they break the line that way?
Right.
Why is the photograph...
Let me just say, because the line did break one way. So you either made a decision or you didn't make a decision. If you didn't make a decision, you're not doing your job, frankly. And if you did make a decision, you have to be prepared to defend it. So I'll have this argument with students like, why does it look like that? And they'll tell me, I'm like, okay, I disagree with you, but I'm glad you have an answer. And that's okay. Better than like, oh, what?
Yeah. Well, this gets to this. Jeff and I have tried to teach our people that a storytelling, just like a documentary or any movie, has a beginning and a middle and an end. And it better, if you're going to make it end and it's supposed to be funny, it better be funny, right? If it's going to be poignant, it better be poignant. And so you have to have an arc to a story, and you have to go somewhere. I'm not sure everyone knows where it's going. They have a rough idea, like a student would have an idea. But it has to land somewhere. There has to be a joke at the end, or something.
And it may be a surprise or a misdirect, but it has to be intentional.
Yeah, and don't wait for the director to find it. This is the thing.
That happened to me once.
Nothing has ever changed.
Right.
You come back and I have 4 endings. Oh, 4 endings. Well, wait. You should start with the ending. There should be one ending.
Ooh, this is good.
Yeah. No, you do not go on a shoot unless you know where the ending is.
Well, that's interesting you say that, because this week in class I was teaching them in the very intro class. I said that we have a gift as advertising creatives because we're given the punchline to everything we write. Every print ad has a logo at the bottom. You mean you know where you're going there? Yeah. So all you have to do is set it up. Yeah. All you have to do is sell confidence. You're not selling tooth whiteners. You're selling confidence. And when someone wants confidence, then the punchline is, oh, it's a tooth. I didn't see that this was for a tooth whitener.
Right. That's a good way to put it.
So in other words, we already have the ending, the payoff in the bottom right corner. So if you're writing a script, you're writing a story, and you build to that ending. It's almost like if you ever do freestyle rap, which I don't do. You always know the second line first, because the first line you have to rhyme to the payoff. The payoff's more important than the first line.
Well, that's real. I was just watching Bill Murray about improv, and it's interesting how, with improv, you never cut it off. You always keep it going. You have to hand it off to someone. But in what I'm talking about now, You have to know where you're going, and you can't be let down at the end. You can't go, oh my God, this is great. Oh my God, this is great. You have to go, wow.
That's right. Yeah, that's the money right at the end.
And that's what Seinfeld. Okay, you talk about Jewish humor, but Seinfeld, I can still watch today. It's timeless. One of the things you haven't asked yet, and I always used to talk about it, is I would like you to be able to look back, and you'll see this afternoon. I can show you a commercial from 30 years ago from us, and it's still fun today. That's storytelling. That's great storytelling. Now, we're not always that successful, but the good stuff is good.
It's true. It's true. No, it's
true is true. Yeah. Yes. Finding the truth in something and exploiting it is really the simple problem.
This is what Jerry did. Jerry observed and talked about things that we know but don't articulate.
Yeah.
Don't discuss.
And you go, oh yeah, right.
Exactly. So you mentioned that you like, the last time we talked, you like to learn, see what's out in the world. Do you still read the New York Times Daily?
Oh my God, except right now it's like I'm having a little bit of a problem because this morning there was no New York Times in the W.
Really?
I have to start with the Times. Yeah, I do. And I a really strong cup of coffee. I've already fed Felix. He's already had his water. I let him outside. Everything's calm in the world, and I read the paper.
How long did it take him to adjust a new house?
He had there was this lump on the bed. It was him in the middle of it. He doesn't know anything different now, the poor guy.
That's great.
Oh my God.
So you mentioned earlier that you have real clients with real problems. It's not, you can't go out and solve the world for everything.
Yes.
Another thing that I think is helpful for students to understand, and for me to understand, is like, what kind of problems do clients come to Goodby, Silverstein and Partners to solve?
The same old hard problems. No one comes to us. Okay, something just happened last week where an old client came back. Oh my God, that was so lovely.
Cool.
Yeah, we still pitched it. Damn it! But they remembered
same
that
folks.
One of the same folks. Okay. And it was real interesting because it was very sweet to go, someone remembers what we can do for somebody. Because when a CMO leaves, then the agency is either fired or on the rails.
When the CMO leaves, the client's not the client.
No, it's a whole different ballgame, right?
Yeah.
So we get tough clients. We don't get there are no pushovers. There's no, you do such great work, please save us. I would wish that would happen. I think it probably happens a little bit with Wyden. They're very lucky about that. Well, they deserve it. But people come to us because they think we're likable and we're smart, although we're pitching for everything. So who knows with the other agencies.
So just to clarify what you mean, you're having to go into and compete. That's what that means.
That's what that means.
Yeah.
And we throw ourselves at it like it's the Super Bowl. But I'm sure other agencies do too. I hate to lose, but what I'm saying is that after 36 years of proving we know what we're doing, we're still, what have you done for me today?
Of course, right. So what kind of problems? These are perception problems. These are growth problems. These are
classic.
Competitive issues.
The problems are the same. The problem, I think, probably CMOs are a little bit confused about how to spend all their money now, and it's like all these opportunities where, okay, let's just get this off the table. Has anyone on this podcast ever clicked on a banner because they wanted to? Now think of the billions of dollars spent on crap. Everything I'm against. Pollution. Everything I'm against. I've said it forever. I hate advertising, but really, what I hate is this kind of insignificant, ugly, yelling kind of thing. Yeah. And a banner is in my way. Get it out of my face. But a company, if I'm watching the Grammys or if I'm watching, a show that I've chosen to watch live, and a client comes, a brand comes on and is respectful, I'll go, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's
right.
It, yeah.
So it's still powerful. Just use it. I just don't like. I don't like the crap.
No, I love the idea of it being respectful. So switching gears, we talked last time about a mentor of yours who was not a wonderful person all the time to be around, and possibly alcoholic. And I want to know, how have you avoided the pitfalls of success and stress, being smart, all these things. How have you avoided
being an alcoholic?
Yeah, or whatever,
or a drug addict?
Yeah, or whatever. Yeah, and
because I think we have never changed who we are. There's these 3 balls you balance in my life. I don't know how I heard this, but I do believe it. You have your family life, your business life, and your sport. And you balance, you juggle these 3 things. So I get on the bike and everything's good in the world, except if I fall. And then work, you feel like I'm getting somewhere. And then, you let down, but then you get excited because you're using your brain. And then your family life is something that you love and just levels you out and is not advertising. So at any given time, I like a world in balance that way. So, if
and they all require work.
Yes, but if if I go, God damn fucking client, I get on the bike and in an hour it's like, well, what does it matter?
It's awesome.
Fix it up.
That's
Fix
really great.
So stress is just something you deal with by balance, being in balance, I guess.
No, I think that's really well said. So last time we talked, you said you have not yet achieved what you want to achieve.
Oh.
And I think part of that was fame, and part of that was success. I want to know sort of how you're defining success these days and how you're feeling about it.
I think after this can thing, we've been respected in the industry, and there's no reason not to feel that.
I guess you're feeling it. I think you've always
I'm
been
feeling
respected.
that, but hold on. Here's the punchline. It's never enough. In that, my personal growth is what I'm working on right now. It's just weird to say this because I was telling Zach, who does all our hiring, and is on the board of your school, and he said, "Well, what have you been doing in your spare time? What do you do on an airplane?" I said, "Well, I write a story." And I've been writing a story for, I don't know, somewhere between 10 and 15 years. I write a story. Yeah. And it gets longer and longer and longer.
Interesting.
And it's based on the news. And so every day when I read the news, I've got more to put in the story.
You also got a job to make your story more interesting than the actual reality happening around
us. It's a little bit like in The Shining, where Jack Nicholson says, Jack's been a very bad boy. That's all he's been writing the whole time. Yeah. I'm not doing that. But I have my personal, there's some things I want to achieve personally. So we'll get to this because I'm not sure. Now I talk about it all the time. I didn't understand what dyslexia was. And an art director and designer, they will know this now. But when you're a young kid, when I was growing up, you were just jumbled. And so what interesting for me, it was really severe, is that writing every day, every morning, and writing on the airplane really helps me achieve something I wasn't able to do.
Do dyslexics have a hard time writing or just reading? I mean,
well, it's funny, reading, but then after I reread what I wrote, it's all jumbled. I have to rewrite it.
This is not uncommon for designers and artists.
Okay, so I'll look at a paragraph 10 times and rewrite it.
Interesting.
And go away and look at it again. So it's just the way we're wired.
Right.
Because I'm looking, I know this is a podcast, okay, I'm looking at your books again, and I can tell you the colors, I can tell you the shapes, I can tell you how they're leaning, I can tell you where the stripes are. I mean, I have this amazing visual, I get it, but the words are jumbled.
That's really fascinating.
I know. It's just,
it's like seeing something from an angle where you get the feeling of the visual texture, all the details of the shapes and stuff. That's actually kind of a superpower.
Well, it can be because, Jobs had it, and then the guy who ran Cisco had it. Chuck Schwab has it from,
Yeah. It's common.
It's common. So you just have to find a way. It can be a superpower if you know how to wrestle with it.
It's the same thing with ADD. It can be a superpower if you allow, if you can figure out a way to get the things outside that tunnel done, it can be a good thing.
Or you also find people to help you. Like, okay, so Goodby is a great writer. I was a very visual person, and then a yin yang balance. That's not a bad thing. Don't try to do everything yourself. How about that one? A lot of people think they have to write it, art direct it. And I'm not sure. I'm still a guy who likes to have a partnership.
The new generation is very, very, very keen on all-in-one. I can do everything.
Really? Is that right?
Yeah, I'm seeing that a lot more.
Wow.
I think it's because it's easier to execute things than it used to be, and the writing craft has been diminished. And I don't think it's a great thing because I don't think you're great at either of them if you're doing all of it.
Right.
Frankly.
And everyone has a flaw, and so if my flaw is countered by the strength of the other person, I think that works pretty well.
Oh, I have a huge one. Every layout I've ever thought of is the same one. but I can tell stories with language.
That's
my
great.
thing. Yeah, so
that's great.
Thank you so much for talking.
Okay, well, I hope someone enjoyed this.
Believe me, I hope so
God.
too. Make sure you check out the agency's website, which is goodbysilverstein.com. You can always reach me at danspodcast@mac.com. I'll throw some links up to the Facebook page, facebook.com/DGMS podcast. Listeners, we'll see you again in 2 weeks. Rich, thanks again so much.
You're welcome.
Listeners, thank you. See you. Bye.